Hello everyone. Today I'll be talking about some tips and tricks that I like to use when I play hardcore. One of the first things I highly recommend you to do is to try to angle your camera if you need to loot an object. Just like you see right here, I can loot a quest object through the wall. If I didn't do this, I would have to kill 3 enemies at the same time, and that's quite dangerous for a hardcore character. If you accidentally pull an enemy, then I also recommend you to use the different objects. You can use these to avoid damage. Like you see right here, I jump over, I can then jump back, and that way I might have a higher chance of getting away. On top of this, also make sure to always follow the road. By doing this, you increase the chance of you not pulling an enemy. However, when you follow the road, always make sure to pay attention, because there is some rare enemies that will patrol on the roads, and these will definitely kill you if you don't pay attention or you AFK for too long. So always pay attention to your surroundings and log out if you need to be away for a minute or 2. Also make sure to learn first aid. This will have a huge impact, as every class will be able to heal in combat as long as you don't take damage. And even as a warrior, you can maintain your rage by using blood rage followed by a first aid, or well, a bandage. 2 other professions that will help you a lot is mining, so you can gather ores, but also engineering. Because as an engineer, you can make a target dummy, and this will try to taunt nearby enemies. This will help you a lot in case you pull too many enemies and you need to get away. So make sure to level mining, engineering, and first aid. For those of you who don't get a free mount, for example as a paladin or warlock, you could always level up skinning, and that way sell the leather that you collect. This will render for a decent amount of silver and end up granting you a lot of gold in the end. One of the biggest reasons why people die is because they enter a cave. When you do this, you need to make sure there's always a clear emergency exit. Because if you accidentally pull monsters and you try to run out, but you end up pulling more, well, then you guessed it, you're dead. For those of you who is going to attempt the hardcore journey the first time, make sure to make all characters. It's going to be amazing to have rested experience, so when you level, you pretty much level with ×2 experience. So if you accidentally die on your main character, you have a decent leveled ult. And of course, always make sure to use your Hearthstone and take advantage of rested experience when you have to be away for quite some time. Also because that way you don't accidentally log in to a monster that is patrolling. At some quest locations, you'll most likely need to kill a specific enemy. When you attack this one, it will shout and attract nearby enemies as well. But what you can do to avoid this, or well, to avoid it following you all the way, is simply just to use an AoE ability. When you hit all of these targets at the same time, they will not be stacked together or linked together. So you can keep running and just attack one of these enemies, for example the target that you need to kill, and after 10 to 12 seconds they will start to evade beside the target that you have kept attacking. I've also seen countless of people die because they try to run away, but they accidentally attack the monster at the same time. Never attack the monster. As long as you don't attack for around 8 to 12 seconds, they will also start running away. If you have access to a lit potion, then this potion is so useful for when you need to get away, especially if you can combine it with the trinket Nifty stopwatch, which is a quest item from Badlands. Combining these together will increase the chance of you making it away successfully. Talking about leveling, then it's also super important you kill enemies while you're running from destination A to B. So instead of just going to a city to hand in a quest, then if I kill enemies as I move there, I'll also gain a lot of additional experience. And trust me, this will be worth it, as long as you don't spend any downtime drinking or eating. So what I mean is that whenever I have a lot of mana, then I also spend this on killing enemies. And then whenever I drop down to around 40% health or mana, then I would continue walking to destination B, and as I walk there, I continue regioning, and when I'm back to 100% health or mana, then I can fight another enemy. When I fight a difficult enemy, or when I'm close to a road or a city, then remember you can always take advantage of the different guards. When you're fighting a hostile enemy, the guards will also help you. So if you manage to do more than 50% of the target's health and damage, then you will also grant experience and be able to loot this. Super useful against elite targets and other difficult enemies. Working on your professions as you level up your character is so much more important in Classic Hardcore compared to Classic 2019. The reason why it's more important this time is because it will increase your character's performance, and this is going to be important in case you wish to make it all the way up to 60 without dying. Back then, I preferred not to spend any time doing professions as I was leveling, just to make sure I could be ahead of the curve so I didn't have too much competition when I had to do specific quests or farming. But this time, it will be more important for me not to rush if it also allows me to make it to 60 a lot more safely. If you haven't decided your profession yet, then I would highly recommend you to check out my hardcore profession picking guide. Getting a wand early on will be so important for your leveling. You will level so much more efficiently, also because you will not waste as much mana casting spells. So if you're not going to craft your own wand, for example as an enchanter, or purchase this on the auction house, then you could always find the different vendors in the open world that sells a wand. And even though the quality is wide, then these are still super useful. In some cases, they're even going to be one of the best things you can get at the certain level range. In the description, I've left a link to my wand guide. This is where I show you the different quests that I do, professions and other things to get a wand as early as possible, and also what wands I would like to get between level 5 and all the way up to around level 25. Being in the water can be so dangerous because of disconnects, but also if you're unaware of your breath. Therefore, I'll also use an add-on that warns me when I'm about to drown. The name of the add-on that warns me here is Rested Experience, but I guess there might also be other add-ons or maybe even a regrower. You have probably heard this before, downranking your spells. In some situations, it's simply not best to use the highest rank. Just because it does a bit more damage, it doesn't mean it's better. Because the crowd control, or in this case, the root from the Frost Nova, is not getting a higher duration just because you use a higher rank. It will do a bit more damage, yeah, but the damage isn't that high compared to all the mana that you spend. So make sure to sometimes just use your rank 1 and don't even spend gold training these spells if it's not mandatory and needed as your level. If you're lucky, then you might also find a new weapon as you level up your character. But in some situations, you might not be able to equip it. Either your character cannot equip it, or you haven't trained it at the trainer. So what I always do whenever I get to a new main city is to look out for the different weapon trainers. Getting these skills early on will be so important, so whenever you find a new weapon, then you can also equip it and train your weapon skills at the same time. So if you were, for example, level 30 or 40, then you don't have to go back to the main city, learn a weapon skill, and start training this from level 1 and all the way up to around 200. Whenever I level up a fresh character, I also like to use the different vendors in the open world. At some of these, you can purchase different green items, weapons, and armors, and these will help you level even faster. If you're wondering where you can find some of these, then I've left a video in the description where I will tell you the exact locations for each item. If you would like to see more tips and tricks and other things about hardcore and classic WoW, then make sure to check out the channel. As always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace!